Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, where we bring you conversations with the top business minds on Long Island and around the nation every week. Featuring expert consultants and small business owners who have found success but are also willing to share their top tips, failures, and give gritty, matter-of-fact advice based on their firsthand experience. Now, let's get down to business on Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hello and welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio. My name is Ray Schwetz, AVP of Business Banking at Jovia Financial Credit Union. We're focused on being the premier resource for business and entrepreneurship. We bring you weekly business advice, tips, tools, and services that help you grow your business. Plus, we interview the top business leaders in the industry, and helping provide us with business empowerment today is a good friend of mine. She is Patrice Trelles. She is the Executive Director HR of Impact Learning Centers. Now, Impact Learning Center provides high-quality academic programs to families and educational institutions, positively impacting the minority student access. So it's a success. Welcome to the show, Patrice.
Thank you, Ray. It's really great to be here. I'm so excited to share with you and your audience all the things that go on with Impact Learning.
Well, you got a lot going on, and you've got a great story, great mission. So very excited to share that with my listener. So how did you get onto that mission to educate and inspire minority students? How did that begin?
Yes, what a great question. So it really started in COVID. During COVID, we really noticed the educational gaps that even our own two children. I'm a mom of two boys, and the co-owner of Impact is their father, who is also a teacher. He's been math teacher for 15 years. Mm-hmm. So we have an advantage at being able to really see those gaps for our children. And then we realized the rest of our community must be suffering with this too. So as educators and advocates for young people, we came together and said we were going to open Impact Learning Center.
I mean, that is a very noble mission, to see the shortcoming in something that you wanted for your kids, and now to say, all right, well, hey, is the rest of the community impacted by this? And let's look into that a little bit. I'm sure this wasn't something easy to take on, especially if it was happening during COVID. There were a few things going on during the pandemic. So can you tell me about some of the challenges embarking upon this mission and getting things started?
Challenges. There was so much going on with COVID, and realizing it now in hindsight, which we all know is 2020, we were really brave to go out and open a business in the middle of a pandemic. However, we did it. We saw the need. It really started with being able to recognize in our community that there were students who were already lagging behind, and how COVID really pushed them further behind the bar. So we really targeted Hempstead after looking at all of local Nassau community, and we happen to live in Baldwin. So by looking at data, understanding scores, and really report cards and where our students were on that academic achievement curve, we realized that Hempstead is where we were needed most. So that's where we went and set up shop.
Excellent. So, and how did they receive you? Because that's also got to be tough. I mean, I know, my wife is an educator as well, so I'm familiar with a lot of the trials and tribulations of the educator. Kudos to your husband, 15 years in math. Mm-hmm. What grades?
Mm-hmm. Middle school.
Okay, yeah, and that's really tough.
Yes.
That's when the hormones are changing, everybody's changing, kids are getting crazy.
That's right.
I dread that. I have 3 daughters. I have one that's in that now. So it's a tough world. I'm sure that those challenges were not unique, but I'm sure that it was something very difficult to overcome. I'm sure there were a lot of misconceptions about what you were trying to do. So can you share with me some of that? What is the misconceptions about Impact Learning then and now? Yes.
People thought we were expensive.
Mm-hmm. Tutoring?
Our biggest challenge and the biggest misconception about the business is that our community thought we were unaffordable. Mm-hmm. And that was our main mission, to make all of the services that we provide accessible. Mm-hmm. And so by doing that, we had to spend some more time. And just to backtrack a bit there, Ray, when we opened our doors, we were so excited at being able to even put together this and all the, getting ready and getting all the things that come together with building a business. We were ready. We opened our doors, we cut our ribbon, and there were crickets.
Yeah.
No one showed up, and we were confused. Like, we know that the community needs this service. We knew we did our due diligence.
So there's a demand.
Mm-hmm. We knew it was there.
Okay.
And we opened the doors, but they didn't come. Where were all of the students and the families that needed this service? So we went out directly to our educational leaders. We went to principals. We went to the school board of Hempstead, and we said, we're here. We're here to support you. We are here to support our families. We're here to support our community. So we need help getting the word out that we're here, but we're also affordable. And so as a part of that, some beautiful business partnerships were built. We were able to partner with an organization called FHI 360. They're a community schools partnership. Along with so many, so many community partners. Forgive me for not being able to name them all off the top of my head, but so many, but primarily the Hempstead School District that came back and said, yes, we do see that we're needed. And so by getting donors and funding and support from them and support from some of our other partners, we were able to really bring in more than just the funding that we had started up with to be able to say we're able to provide this service. So now we have a waiting list, which we really need to be able to service those when we get to them.
It's a good problem and a bad problem.
It's a great problem to have. So we need more space, but we're effectively out there getting change, and we've been doing it for 2 years.
Can you talk with me about, walk me through the experience of working with Impact Learning?
Yes.
I'd like to know more about, what the services are, how they work, how the kids benefit, and all that.
Great. So starting with our services, we do provide an after-school program. That is our primary service. It happens from 2 to 7, Monday through Friday. We come in. We are a homework help program, but because we have brought in such high quality tutoring services, we're able to do both. So we have a philosophy for all of our families. Our staff are well trained on it. Our parents do not need to touch the backpack. So that means whatever is in that backpack, whether it's just a homework sheet or if it's a massive project that requires a poster board, Impact Learning and our team is taking care of it for you. We totally understand that our community, once they get home, it's time for bed, bath, dinner, and all the other things that come with life. So let's take that part off your plate. But by bringing in all experienced, licensed teachers as our staff, that's where we differ compared to a typical after-school program. We're really able to look at the homework and tutor the student from there. So we're making sure we're checking that box. No one wants to go home with homework. So compared to competitors where you pay a really pricey package to have someone sit with your student for an hour and really work on whatever they're failing in, whether that's math, literacy, reading, etc., we take that based on the homework. We communicate directly with teachers. So we pass the notes back and forth with teachers and say, hey, we're here, we're Impact Learning. This particular student, they come to our program, they spend 3-4 hours with us. So please let us know where you feel like they need help. And so we're really able to affect change most that way by being really hands-on.
And it doesn't sound to me like it's a rigid, there's a structure there, there's a process, there's a strategy, but it's handling things in a way that's unique to each student and to meet their needs, to meet them where they need help.
That's right. We have blended high-quality services with the practical needs of our family and our community. That's
awesome because, a lot of these things you're thinking, all right, they're pricey. Well, my kid learns a little differently. I don't know how they're going to go with this. Sometimes it's a rigid structure for things.
That's right.
And, so it's great that this is something that's scalable as well.
Yes.
Looking at the stories of the kids, I'm sure that there are tons of kids going through the program and there are stories unique to each kid, and there are stories that are impactful and ones that touch you. It's hard not to do this kind of work and not be, driven by your heart. Are there any stories you can share with us about a student that went through your process and how they were impacted in a positive way?
So many stories.
Many
stories. One that just jumps out at me that touches my heart, we will call her Becca.
Okay.
So Becca came to us, and she is in the 4th grade. And Becca was one of our first students. She joined us from a local community school, local elementary school. And as I shared with you before about our process, we always contact the teacher. We're in touch with anyone who's working with the student that can give us anything, the parent that can help us make sure we are crafting the perfect plan for the student. Becca is lovely. She is just like a little bouncing ball every time she walks into the center. Miss P, how are you today? How are you today? Little Becca could not read, and we didn't know that. She started to have some behavioral issues, and we were understanding that was tied to learning to read. And so we work with a particular program It's proprietary, and we've gone out and purchased it, and we had to go get lots of support and behind the scenes to make sure, because we knew that even though we had only one student that we really wanted to impose on this program, we went and essentially got it for her. And we said, she's going to be our beta. We're going to really see if this program, it does what it says it can do. We went out, we made it our own, we purchased it, we brought it in-house, we trained our teachers on it. By the end of 4th grade, when Becca started at less than, it's literally a level 0 because it's below kindergarten. She was able to be reading on a 2nd grade level. And so for us, that's massive. And to know that she had been passed from grade to grade without being able to, have someone say, hey, wait a minute, we need to get some intensive services for the student. And knowing that her behavioral issues had been reflected from mom coming in and saying she's just so much easier to work with. I'm getting such better reviews for her from her teachers, etc. That was such a proud moment, and that was the end of last year. So her coming into us this year, this will be essentially her last year with us before she goes off to middle school. She's going to come back with us to work for the summer as a CIT.
Nice.
Yeah, because she's been with us for 2 years, and I can absolutely say she's reading at grade level. And I know that Impact Learning Center and my staff are a significant part of that.
That is huge. And the fact that you were able to identify a lot of kids, and my wife is in teaching, so she's seen this, and, they develop coping mechanisms to kind of fool you into thinking, oh, yeah, I'm following along, but they're really not.
Absolutely right.
And it's not reflected in anything other than the grades. And then, obviously that has a very negative impact. So
Yes.
Kudos to you and your team for uncovering that. You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Ray Schwetz, along with our guest today, Patrice Trelles. She is the Executive Director of HR of Impact Learning Centers. So, obviously, your work is experiential. The story that you just told about Becca, that really gives us a good insight into what's going on in Impact Learning. How does that translate, though? Like, how are you able to get that understanding through to parents like myself, who we have so many different things going on, and particularly you're looking to impact the minority community, and these are parents sometimes that have 2 or 3 jobs, they're not coming home to
Right.
So how are you getting through to them that, hey, look, there's a solution here?
Yes, all credit goes to my staff. We have an incredible team of people. Because I have a background in human resources and business, I did understand the importance of investing in our people. And so where my co-owner really focuses on the academic programming and the overview and arch of our program, my job is to invest in our people. So I train them well. I support them. I ensure that they have all the tools that they need, because that is how we reflect back out to the community. So because of our staff are bilingual, multilingual, some of them, they understand the importance, right? We do lots of training in DEI, that's diversity, equity, inclusion, to understand this is the population we're working with. This is what our aim is. This is our company mission. There are so many touch points throughout the week. So primarily our front desk staff, including our educators, all have the same training, because at any point we can be supporting any one of our parents through anything. We work with children. Children are such a delicate and vulnerable population. So we must understand that the parent that's attached to that, we have to understand how to support and communicate with them as well.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's hard work. It's hard work. It's God's work.
Yeah.
And what I love about you, Patrice, is that you are always smiling. So obviously there's a lot of love that goes into what you do. To me, there's no question. What do you love most about the work that you're doing?
Yes, I'm such an eternal optimist. And so being able to see students go from point A to a point B and transition through our program is really what gives me fulfillment. I work on all of the data in the business, and so I'm able to really look at, pull in scores, pull in all of our reading assessments, pull in our mathematical assessments, and really see the data. So I get almost giddy when I get a chance to come back to our staff and say, look at what you did, right? This is what you did, where I can really publish those reports and say, this is our work, right? Not only on a big scale, but when you put all those little data points and you plot all of our students and you start to look at it over time. Given our 2 years, we're going into year 3. And as time goes on, that data will grow even more. And so I'm so excited always to be able to step back and say, this is what we've done. And so being able to do that is where I get my joy and my heart's fulfillment.
I'm sure there are trends that you're identifying. As we stated before, it's kind of like any other issue. When you're dealing with an individual, what their needs are is very individual. Mm-hmm. But that said, are there specific trends that you're hearing of from both parents and teachers? What kids are really struggling with, and how are you kind of meeting them on that?
Certainly. So that's on the social emotional piece. Mm-hmm. We're hearing a lot of requests for STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, and learning, and having opportunities for students to really immerse not only the foundational, like reading and math, immersing themselves into those types of programs. So we've been able to go out and partner with, again, other community partners, certain other small businesses that have been able to bring us things like Lego League and other robotics programs. We also have workshops for social emotional learning where students learn something as basic as how do you work through a conflict with a friend? What does it feel like to express yourself? What are emotions? So that's where we're noticing the trend is. And no matter what, Impact Learning Centers will always focus on those foundational, the key educational elements. But we do understand the importance of also having some of these additional auxiliary programs that layer into students' learning.
Yeah. And all of that really ties into the student and the vulnerabilities that you just talked about. I look at what some of these kids go through today, and it's so funny because there's the old adage I walked to school barefoot in the winter and blah, 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 and how hard it was for me as opposed to you. And I actually look at it very differently in terms of educators today and kids today, is that they have so much more to tangle with, because there is the social aspect of things, the emotional aspect of things in terms of social media, what they're exposed to. Some of the things that I wanted access to that I wasn't supposed to have access to, right, I couldn't gain access to. Now the kids, all they have to do is bring up their phone.
Yes.
And have access to everything and anything.
At their fingertips.
And it is so difficult. And with regards to bullying and stuff like that, that is stuff that used to happen in the playground. Maybe you get beat up, a little bruised, next day you're suspended, or, then people forget about it.
Right.
Social media lives on forever. Are those challenges that you're seeing and that you deal with as well?
Absolutely. And our children are so impacted by it. So by being able to give them a forum to talk through those things, giving them a place. Our staff have excellent relationships with all of our students. And I know that, there are times that they use them as a safe haven outside of just their academic work, because we do have, relationships with the students to be able to tackle all the things that they're going through. As little people, they see life in their own way, and they have their own challenges, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yep.
It's nice to know that this is a good and safe space for them.
Absolutely.
Who is kind of on your short list? You mentioned a couple of different organizations you're working with, and I know you are an extremely collaborative and easy to work with kind of person, and you're doing hard work, so that collaboration is extremely important. Who's on your short list for who you want to meet, and what things you're looking for to help Impact Learning be even more impactful?
Yes, that's awesome. So honestly, anyone who understands the importance of educational support for our minority students. Mm-hmm. Anyone. That doesn't matter whether you're an individual person or you're a small business or you're a large organization. On our short list is actually NCC. We're hoping to be able to. Yes, that's right. That's even how we got here, is to be able to really expand, because we have so many students on our waiting list, and we know that, no matter what, space is an issue. We have a small storefront in Hempstead, and we're able to provide our services there, but we are running out of space. So ideally, any one of our community partners that have space that we can come into as a nonprofit and just be able to continue to do the work that we do.
Okay. All right. So we're hearing you there. Mm-hmm. So hopefully our listener is taking notes and they'll reach out to you.
Yeah.
I think that's great. What lessons have you learned looking at it from the business standpoint? You're going into this. It's a wonderful mission. It's like, of course this is going to be successful. You open and there's crickets.
Yes.
What sort of lessons did you learn going into this business, and could you share that with others who are looking to start their own business so that maybe they wouldn't have to go through the same thing?
Yeah, that's such an awesome question, because at the time it felt really heavy. But being able to look back at how we work through it, I would say that key skill is agility. You have to be able to be resilient, but pivot, right? We came in with one business model, thought this was going to be the way it worked, very quickly realized people are probably looking at our center going, whatever that brand new thing is that popped up with all the shiny lights, I can't afford it. They immediately assumed that about us. So being able to pull back and say, all right, how can I pivot in this moment? Stay the course. Keep pushing, keep going, be resilient, and take your people with you. As owners, Johnny and myself are super transparent with all of our staff. They know what's going on. They know when it's going on, because we never know what ideas they might have that they can bring to the table. So I would certainly say agility, transparency, and be resilient.
You are listening to Tara Talk Business Radio on the voice of National Community College. My name is Ray Schwetz, and today we have our guest, who is Patrice Trelles. She is the Executive Director of HR of Impact Learning Centers on the voice of National Community College, 90.3 WHPC. So what's next for you? Like, what are you looking to do with Impact Learning and expand that brand and your offerings?
Yes. So we would really love to expand the space. I think that's really what's next for the business. So going into the next school year, we would be able to double. Right now, our center holds a capacity of 77. We have a waiting list of almost that same number. So being able to service at least 150 students or more going into next year, I would say would be what's next. In addition to our after school program, we have our summer camp, which runs for 8 weeks, because we want to make sure, again, that, our parents have a place to bring their children. We partner with Long Island Care's food program. So meals are delivered fresh every single day, even during the school year. For after school program, we understand that food insecurity is a challenge for the population we support and the community we service. So being able to work with, again, another nonprofit that delivers meals to us daily, year round, we're able to send those meals home with our children. So through summer camp and going into the next after school program, we just want to be able to say yes to everyone who comes to our doors. So that does require funding, and it requires space.
Absolutely. And at present, so I know you're servicing the Hempstead area. What other locations are you in and working very actively with the student population? Yes,
right now it's just Hempstead right now at the moment. We do have an offsite in Brooklyn. We partner with a charter school there to bring some of our STEM programs that I shared with you earlier. And we also have a program in Queens that we work with. So really we've been focused on just expanding in the Hempstead community, because of we're realizing that the demand and realizing the amount of students that there are that actually need our services. So right now we're parked in Hempstead, and we're here to stay.
Excellent. And for identifying the needs of the students, I assume it's the educators, but actually I guess sometimes it's the parents. But where do you see that the students come from? Like, are they coming from parental, or are they coming from educator? Like, how does that work? How do you get the students coming to you?
Yes, it is a mix of both. We have easily 50% are parents who walk in and go, what's this? What's going on? What are your prices, if anything, right? So we do have a significant group of parents that, kind of just come in and go, and they typically assume that we only provide a tutoring service. So usually parents get to us and they're fairly desperate, right? Sure. And so they're relieved to know that, hey, not only will I take them from 2 to 7 every single day, I'll pick them up from school, right? And I'll keep them late for you and I'll feed them, right? But the other half really do come from our community partners. So those are our principals, those are the school psychologists, those are the school community advocates who are saying, hey, here are our population of students that are struggling. And we primarily start with our third graders because they're at that testing age. So with the test grades, we're able to say, okay, come on in, let's get you going. Let's make sure you're up to par and prepared for what testing looks like.
Got it. What's the one thought that you want to make sure you leave our listener with after hearing from you today?
Yes.
Patrice?
One, donate.
Yes.
We are revamping our website right now, so we'll have that PayPal link up really soon. So we'll get that.
You are a nonprofit.
We are a nonprofit, so absolutely donate. And if not, if you have a student or a family member or anyone that you're like, I think they need some type of academic support. They were impacted from COVID and they've never been able to catch up, or something is going on with your student, just give us a call. You can help us. So our website is www.impactlearningkids.com, and you can reach us by phone at our office. Our wonderful front desk staff will assist you, and we can be reached at the office at 516-385-5486.
Well, again, the work that you do, it's God's work, working with the children. Thank you for what you do. I'm very excited to share your story today.
Yes.
So, Patrice, I appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you so much. So I'd like to leave you with what we call DB's philosophy. My co-host and producer, Denisha Boston Hill. The beautiful thing about learning is that nobody can take it away from you. And that's B.B. King.
So true.
So, Patrice, thanks so much for being with us. We want to thank you for being with us. My name is Ray Schwetz, along with Denisha Boston Hill, your co-host and producers. Visit nccradio.org for more information. We are available on Odyssey, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, as a podcast in iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. This has been Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the voice of National Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
The Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council present the story of Tom and Levi.
Tom is the smartest man I know. He's been a professor at 2 major universities, been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, he told me that he was having problems in his classes. I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. And he was telling them that he was doing it as a favor to them, but I think in reality, he just wanted to get out of there. I was really starting to worry because I saw something was wrong.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me, and my love for him was just immense.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.